Welcome to Goobertown Hobbies. My name is Brent, and I'm about to paint a random mini in a random paint scheme. There are 5 unknown mystery models in here, and I have some dice, and I have a set of rules for myself. So, ordinarily on Goobertown Roulette, I have my own treasure bin full of random models. Today, though, I'm drawing from this box from Warpfire Minis. So, the name of the game is Goobertown Roulette, and the name of this box is Warpfire Roulette. So, there's a reason for that, we're going to talk about it, but first, let's draw some minis and get this project started. So, each of these is individually wrapped in this bubble wrap here. You can't quite see what's in there, but there's just a hint of what's going on. So, let's crack open this first one, and then we'll roll some dice for it. So, what I actually want to do, because I'm curious, I'm actually going to open all 5 of these, and then we'll come up with a plan for what we're actually going to paint out of these 5. But our first one here is a marauder on horseback, maybe? That's cool. But the real fun of this game is rolling for some special rules. So I've got some rules here. I've got 2 dice. First dice I'm going to roll is for what type of character he is. Hero, villain, mercenary, specialist, sidekick, or comic relief. So, let's see. Villain, okay. So this guy's going to be a villain, and then the second dice I'm going to roll is for what his main color will be. So 3 is green. He's going to be a villain with a major green tone on him. Okay, so the way we're going to do this video is I'm actually going to open all 5 of the minis in here. We're going to roll for each one, and then I'm going to pick my favorite combination. So here's the first one out of the way. Let's keep going. Can't wait to see what's in this box. Okay, here's the next pick. What do we got? Ooh. Okay. This is a lizard man. Maybe a temple guard, something like that. Okay, cool. Well, let's roll for him. Red dice. What type of character is he? 2 again. This is also a villain. And the main character of this villain lizard, or sorry, the main color of this lizard man is 3 green. I don't know about these dice. Okay. Another green villain. Both good models for it, both good choices, but let's see if we can get the dice to do something else on the next character here. What we got? Okay. This is our 3rd possibility for the painting challenge today. And we have... Ooh. This is an orc with a squig or a squigoth or whatever they're called. This looks like a 40k orc to me. So what type of character is he? 6. Comic relief. Okay, that's actually pretty good for an orc. Just gonna move this cat out of here for just a moment. That's what the pillow back here is for. Alright. And the main color on this orc, 4. Yellow or orange. Okay, that's a pretty good choice. Got a couple more characters to go here. Okay, this is a Dark Eldar jet bike of the previous generation. Okay, so let's see what type of character he's gonna be. 5, Sidekick. Can this be a Sidekick character? Maybe. What color would he be? 5, black or dark brown? Okay, there's a possibility. A lot of good choices on here. All right. One last one. What is this? Not immediately sure what this is. We'll have to look up this character. Funny looking little dude, though. Let's see what he's gonna be. Red dice for character type. Mercenary, okay. And then the blue dice for the main color. 4 is yellow or orange. Okay, there's some possibilities. So, the models have been drawn, the rolls have been made. Now I'm gonna choose what I'm actually gonna paint up in this video. We've got 5 actually pretty good choices. As I was rolling those, I knew that there'd be something I could do with each of them. So, yeah, let's give this some serious thought and decide what we're doing.
Okay, 5 interesting choices. Let's give this some thought. We're gonna pick one of these challenges to actually go through with for this video. Real quick though, the story of this roulette warp crate is that I was looking for a source of truly random models to use for Goobertown Roulette. I reached out to Warpfire Minis and told them that if they started selling a product with random minis for the purpose of painting challenges, that I would be their first subscriber. They actually made it, and so I subscribed. I have to tell you though, that Jordan, the owner, played a little trick on me. Once I had subscribed and they knew my address, they canceled the subscription and sent the box anyway. So I guess this is a review copy? Anyway, I assure you that I tried to buy this. My personal Goobertown Roulette treasure box contains random minis wrapped by me, so I basically know what I loaded it up with, even though I'm trying hard to forget. I had absolutely no idea what was in this warp crate though, so opening the models here was way more suspenseful and exciting for me. And indeed, we got some great options for this challenge. Choice 1. Chaos Marauder Horseman, Villain, Green. There's some stuff we can do with that. Choice 2. Seraphon Saurus Guard, Villain, Green. Definite possibility. This guy has the advantage of being assembled well and zenithal primed already. I don't even see any mold lines. I love this model, but I have other plans for Seraphon on this channel. He's going into my Seraphon pile for now, but we'll be seeing him again someday, don't worry. Choice 3. Orc Gretchen Runtherd, Comic Relief, Yellow or Orange. It's a good model, and it's a good challenge roll for it. This is extremely tempting. But I already paint so many orcs and goblins on this channel, maybe I should tone that back a bit. Choice 4. Dark Eldar Reaver Jetbike, Sidekick, black or dark brown. I'm pretty sure that some versions of Batman's Robin rode a bike. We could make this work. The sculpt was actually the second model that I ever painted, so I do have a connection to this model and some unfinished business with it. This is a possibility. Choice 5. Lord of the Rings Orc, Mercenary, Yellow-Orange. What a goofy little dude. I love that helmet, and he'd be perfect for a trooper in a budget-quality mercenary company. Yellow would look good on him. Since he's a Lord of the Ring orc, I'd even be willing to break my promise about not painting an orc in this episode. So, what did I pick? Chaos Marauder Horseman, come on down. I've never worked with any models from the Fantasy Chaos line, and I'm really liking this sculpt. Villain is a natural choice for this guy, and almost too easy really, but I think the green requirement gives him a fun twist. Unfortunately, of the 5 used models we got, he was in the worst condition. I had to scrape a bunch of mold lines, and then cut some bits apart and reassemble them to fix some gaps. But I got him looking good as new. Alright. Although at one point the rider and horse had been glued to each other, I was able to get them apart and put them each onto temporary bases to make them easier to paint. I got them primed up in black. I used my airbrush, but there's nothing wrong with using a spray can. I then did a zenithal highlight with Liquitex acrylic ink titanium white. I could have used white spray paint for this, but the transitions wouldn't have been as smooth and precise. I hit the horse and the rider from above, then I also came in and hit the horse's belly and chest to lighten it up. This all gives a good indication of where I want the highlights and shadows and light spots and dark spots to be on the finished model. I changed ink colors and hit the horse with transparent burnt sienna from the airbrush. This is the one step in the video where it really is nice to have an airbrush. This is a translucent red-brown ink. The translucent ink over the white and gray bits is lighter in color than where it lands over black. So There are some really nice natural color transitions, which give the muscles a bit of volume. I haven't decided if this will be the final color of the horse, but I wanted to give this a try and see how it looks. I did end up really liking it. I chose this red-brown to be a natural complement to the green that we'll be using. For the warrior, I used a translucent olive green ink. I'm not sure what parts of him, if any, will be this shade of green in the end, but I wanted to get some green on the model just to get the juices going and start thinking about what I liked and didn't like. It's a decently villainous shade of green. After I had the colored ink sprayed onto the model, I hit both the horse and the rider with a matte varnish through the airbrush. The inks can dry a bit glossy, and they can also be a bit delicate when adding layers of paint on top of them. So it's not a bad idea to do this varnish step before moving on to brushwork. I could have replaced all the airbrush steps by just priming the horse brown and the rider green, but that airbrush does give some nice color transitions, and it's a lot of fun. If you've got room in your life for an airbrush, then it's definitely nice to have. Okay, on to brushwork. I started by making some easy color choices. Flesh, leather, tack, that sort of stuff. I was making gut calls and seeing where that took me. My initial idea was for him to be a cruel, twisted perversion of the Green Knight of Bretonnia. A fearsome warrior who has a weird quirk of liking the color green. With this vague idea taking shape, I was making quick calls and filling in some colors. So let's talk about the origins of that warp crate. I asked a company if they were willing to make a product specifically designed for Goobertown Roulette, and they actually did it, so I'm excited. In the comments section for Goobertown Roulette videos, a lot of people have said that they were interested in playing Goobertown Roulette for themselves, and that is so awesome. Painting a random mini in a random paint scheme is a great palette cleanser between bigger projects. It's just a great way to push yourself to practice and learn new skills, and it's just plain fun. Anyway, a lot of people were asking me where to get random models. Well, one option is to find a way to randomly select from your current collection of unpainted minis. Or you could trade minis with a friend. Or maybe you could try to organize a swap down at your local game store or game club. Dan from Paint All the Minis podcast mentioned that his group used to do some similar mini swaps. That topic actually came up when he was interviewing me for his podcast, Paint All the Minis. That interview is up now if you want to check it out. The outlook and attitude on Paint All the Minis aligns pretty closely with the Goobertown spirit. Wait, hold up. Enough promoting Paint All the Minis podcast and the excellent Paint All the Minis Facebook group. There was something else I was talking about. Oh yeah, commercial options for roulette minis. Games Workshop sells random Space Marine heroes, but it's always a Space Marine in that box. You could sign up for a mini subscription box, a bunch of those do exist. For some of those companies, everyone on the mailing list gets the same mini in a given month. So if your will is weak, you could spoil the surprise for yourself with a quick Google search. The original Warp Crate from Warpfire Minis is a subscription box that will send random used minis from Warhammer factions of your choice, and each person's box is unique. That original Warp Crate was an okay option for sourcing roulette models, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I sent a cold email and asked Warpfire Minis if they would be interested in making a truly random box that would be appropriate for us goobers. And they actually did it. They listened to my ideas and my feedback, and they made a product that is well suited to Goobertown Roulette. Actually, Warpfire Minis liked the idea so much that they're setting up a monthly competition on their website. So if you wanted, you could go all in and play Goobertown Roulette and Warpfire Roulette Challenge. Later in this video, I'm going to announce the Goobertown Patreon page and the launch of the official Goobertown Roulette League. So this is turning out to be a good video for mini painting challenges. More on all that in a minute. So this horse and rider are starting to shape up pretty well. I decided that the best places to keep green were the metal slabs of armor. Everything else I'd recolor to something reasonable. After that, the choices I needed to make were what colors to use to differentiate a couple of types of leather and cloth from the brown of the horse. I tried out a dark gray, a dark green, and an alternate, lighter shade of brown. For the bits of fur, I used some light gray. As I was painting, the identity of this character started to cement in my mind more and more. He's the scary henchman villain. He's frightening and he's capable, but there's something wrong with him. People make jokes about him, but never, never to his face. In Game of Thrones, he's Gregor Clegane, the mountain that rides. Tywin Lannister sends him around to mess stuff up. Or he's Darth Vader from Episode 4. Capable, monstrous, but there's something wrong with him. Tarkin sends Vader to do his dirty work. He gets stuff done. But the other Imperials think he's a weirdo with that costume and how he's always talking about his ancient religion. They soon learn never to say any of that to his face, though. Anyway, this Green Marauder is the dangerously quirky evil henchman. He's been sent to threaten the villagers in a small town to get them to pay an even higher tribute to the villainous lord who lives in the keep on the hill. The Green Marauder is riding into town, alone. He's gonna make a simple, brutish speech. Taxes are about to go up. Some brave and foolish old man will protest, and the villagers will gasp and take a step back. The Green Marauder will dismount, walk up to the old man, and give him a savage backhand. The old man will fall to the ground. The Green Marauder will look around the village square, and not one of the villagers will be able to meet his eyes. He'll remount, and he'll tell the villagers that wagons of tribute will be sent to the Lord's Keep within 3 days, or else he will return. The Green Marauder will spur his horse and ride out of the village. No one knows why he has that green armor, and nobody knows why he always carries those javelins, but nobody will ever have the courage to ask. Unless some kind of hero arrives, it's fair to assume those taxes will be paid. Well, let's get to work on the mini-space. The scene that I want to set up is this guy riding down the center of Main Street into a small town to threaten the villagers. So, we're doing cobblestones. I have a green stuff world roller for this. Normally, I use these rollers on super Sculpey clay, but Sculpey needs to be baked and I didn't feel like doing any baking. So, I tried the roller with both green stuff and DOS clay. For the green stuff especially, it was important to lubricate the surface with Vaseline. I really like the idea of these rollers, but they have tiny striations in addition to their intentional texture. I'm guessing that these rollers were made with a CNC, and those tiny striations are unavoidable, but it's still annoying to try to smooth those out with my finger while trying not to smush the cobblestone texture. Anyway, I made up several of these bases so that I could experiment with them a little bit. I primed them black and then hit them with white ink. I'm going to use some washes to color these cobblestones, and the black and white will give some nice variation. The 50mm bases seemed like a good size for this model, but I also made up a larger oval base in case I wanted to do a mini diorama. I figured I could include a frightened or rebellious villager. Here are 2 models that I had in mind for that role. In the end, I decided that I liked the 50mm base better, but I can always paint up some villagers for this guy to terrorize some other day. For painting the base, I got out my collection of secret weapon washes and dabbed on a variety of colors to different rocks. Rocks can be all kinds of colors, not just gray. I tried out a couple of patterns until I came up with something that I liked. Alright, back to the figure. As I got more and more of these colors painted on, I realized that I actually really liked both the green and the red-brown inks that I had sprayed on initially. This surprised me a bit. I thought one or both of them might be placeholders, and I'd paint over them with different shades of acrylic paint. But those ink colors ended up being pretty cool. The only problem with liking those initial colors is that I had slopped flesh color paint onto a lot of the green. I've never attempted to correct one of these airbrushed ink colors before, so I tried converting that super runny olive green ink into olive green paint. What I did is I mixed the ink with some matte medium, and it kind of turned into a thin paint. It worked okay, but not great. That olive green is a naturally translucent color with a ton of yellow pigment in it, but with a couple of coats I was able to fix the errors. Someday, I'll have to try this again with a thicker medium. Converting inks into paints is probably a pretty useful skill. Once I had the base colors down and I had applied a few washes, I put the rider on the horse. I'd held the 2 figures close to each other before to see if the colors would jive, but this was the first time he'd actually sat astride his mount since he was all gaps and mold lines. Anyway, this looks good to me, and I know that the next steps are to put some highlights and extra details on this guy to zazz him up for the video, but wow, I really like the look of this model. What's left of the original brown and green ink go really well together. The muscles on the horse look nice, the green on the helmet, the shoulder pad, and the shield. They draw attention in the good way, and they still have some pretty nice looking transitions. I kept going with some highlights and such, but what I was thinking is that this was way too easy. A relatively simple base coat and some washes, and the model is looking good to me. What's this episode even about then? I'm supposed to be showing you cool things, and here I am content after a relatively straightforward paint job. Sure, I iterated a bit on some of my normal techniques, but I certainly didn't do anything really innovative here. And then I realized that I was beating myself up just for liking a straightforward paint job. Somehow I was getting down on myself for feeling like it was too simple to get this model to a place where I thought he looked cool. That's nuts! It's always been a goal of mine to paint fun minis and to have it feel easy. And now that I have one of those experiences, and I feel like it was too easy. No, let's fix that. On the internet, we're constantly shown images of incredible paint jobs. We're constantly reminded how far we are from the top painters. But that doesn't have to mean that we can't love our own work. There's no reason why a straightforward paint scheme can't look awesome, and there's no reason why you can't be proud of it. Sometimes just getting a couple of colors in the right combination can look fantastic. Savor the moment. As this is coming together, I'm fixing up some details and I'm adding some highlights. I'm just liking it more and more as I go along. That's the fun of Goobertown Roulette. You never know where you're gonna end up. I was vaguely aware that this sculpt existed in the Games Workshop catalog, but I'd never considered purchasing it. This little game got me to try something new and gave some fresh air to my hobby time. So, Warpfire Minis wrapped the 5 minis in this box in translucent bubble wrap, and when I pulled this guy out of the box, I actually thought I was unwrapping some sort of elf cavalry. But nope, Chaos Marauder. Warpfire did ask whether I liked the bubble wrap presentation or whether they should add a layer of paper on top. I posed that question to you in the comment section. Did you like the tantalizing hints of what was inside each bubble wrap, or should Warpfire go full opaque? I was able to pretty much identify the Dark Eldar jet bike and the Lizardman Temple Guard before I opened the bubble wrap, but then again, I'm pretty familiar with those silhouettes. Do you guys think that the hints of what's inside each parcel makes the box more fun or less fun? We've definitely established that Warpfire Minis listens to the community, so let them know if you have any suggestions. I don't have any financial relationship with Warpfire Minis, but they listened to me and they made a product that I wanted to buy. $20 including shipping for 5 true surprises and 5 mini painting projects is pretty reasonable. Maybe those 5 minis wouldn't be worth $20 to me if I saw them on an eBay posting, but I'm happy to pay a bit of money for variety and surprise. If any other company wants to get in on this mystery mini racket, the price to beat is $4 per mystery. Remember, those Space Marine hero packs are $8 each. Anyway, I think I got a great model and a great roll. I actually really like this variant of Goobertown Roulette. In addition to rolling for the main color, I rolled for one of 6 character archetypes: hero, villain, mercenary, specialist, sidekick, and comic relief. It's fun to imagine how this model could have been adapted to any one of those characters. Specialist especially would have been a fun one. When I wrote the challenge, I was thinking demolition specialist, or hacking specialist, or master diamond thief. But clearly this guy has a weird thing for javelins. That maybe I could have done something with. I did actually try to reposition those javelins, but the previous owner glued them on solid. I rolled green villain today. In this case, I was lucky that the sculpt was already pretty villainous. The green makes him a little brighter, and you could mistake him for being more of a fun dude, but the green also is just strange enough to sell the idea of this being the disturbed chief henchman villain, and I'm good with that. Well, here we are. I really am happy with how this turned out. You never know where Goobertown Roulette is going to lead you, but it's almost always a road worth taking. Okay, channel announcement. I've launched a Patreon page. One of the things that I'm doing with this is setting up the official Goobertown Roulette League. Every quarter, I'm going to post a modified set of rules for Goobertown Roulette. Patrons who complete the challenge and send me a picture of their finished mini can get their work featured in a Goobertown Roulette episode. This is one of the reasons I wanted to make sure that we could find some companies like Warpfire Minis to sell products like the Roulette Challenge Crate. There are plenty of other places to get random minis, but that roulette crate definitely is a convenient option. The other thing I'm doing with this Patreon is I'm using it as motivation to tackle truly massive project videos. The more support this channel gets, the more time and materials I can invest in some really awesome projects. So here's the first goal. If this Patreon drive hits 75 people, I'm going to make a video where I paint a whole army. It'll be kinda like that patch painting goblins video, but bigger and better. I'm calling this the Drive to 75. And if we live in some topsy-turvy world where that goal is exceeded, then I'll set another goal for another blockbuster video. And of course, the primary reason to consider pledging is just to support the channel. If you're this far into the video, you're probably liking what I'm doing here with Goobertown. I'm so grateful that people are watching these videos and enjoying them. The more people who watch, the harder I work to make sure that these videos are worth your time and have a positive impact on the hobby community. Something that you might not realize is that a lot of companies have started reaching out to me to try to get me to feature their products. So far, I've turned down all of the offers for sponsored videos, and I've turned down most of the offers for sending me products to test and review. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with forming partnerships with companies. Clearly, I do feature paints and minis on my channel constantly. But I want to take things slow and just focus on making the videos that I want to make. If I always know where my compass is, if I'm always hobbying how I want, and doing my best just to have fun, then I think that will show through in these videos and the channel will just keep on getting better and better. Long story short, I've decided that soliciting for a bit of support from the community will be better for the channel than soliciting companies for support. So yep, the Patreon is open for anyone who's interested. Head on over and check out the different pledge levels. The highest tier is, of course, a coveted Goobertown coffee mug. Finally, a few folks somehow found my Patreon page before I even announced it. The actual page has been up for a few months as a placeholder, and some people actually sought it out and pledged, and that just blows my mind. It really means a lot to me. Tyler H, Luke M, Stefan W, Keen P, Rich K, Skalm A, thank you so much. I won't forget this. Also, James F knows what army I'm going to paint if we hit 75 Patreons, because he's the one that donated most of it. Huge thanks to James. Hopefully we'll hit 75 supporters so that we can all see that army get painted in one epic video. Drive to 75. That's all in the future though. For now, I'm just super happy with this villainous green marauder.
Well, there we are. Another episode of Goobertown Roulette is in the books. This one just went so smoothly. We got a great mini and a great challenge, and I like the paint job that I did. And, you know, I'm just feeling good about myself, and I'm feeling like I want to keep on painting. So, great success all the way around. I'd really recommend anyone at home give one of these mini painting games a shot. So I am setting up that official Goobertown Roulette League on Patreon, or you could check out Warpfire Minis and their Roulette Challenge, or just make your own game up at home and have fun with it. All of those things, highly recommended. That's about it for this time. So like, subscribe, comment, check out that Patreon page. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching.